I'm not real sure what just happened. All right, Clay, I don't know what just happened, but let me get you the.
No, you're fine.
You're fine. Go ahead and we should be able to reshare.
I did that. Sorry. I killed the app on my phone and it looked like it killed the meeting. I tried to join on my laptop.
All right, so does anybody want to share on this play any philosophies that they may have in their current league that's different than what I said on this illegal shift play?
Clay, I will say that, you know, the philosophy that I've been told by our graders is that if the feet are set, that's good enough. I had a play in a game late last year that I made a shift to false start that I was told was overly technical for that reason, because the guy's feet, he got his feet turned around and set, even though he was still kind of leaning a little bit. You know, he wasn't a lineman, so he wasn't necessarily in a false start situation, but that was something that is the philosophy that I've heard.
Nick, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing. That is exactly what I wanted to hear is kind of hearing the differing philosophies in some different areas as well. And so I was hoping that we had some different opinions on that too. So again, as we talked about, oh man, I messed up here. So again, what we talked about from day one here is whatever your supervisor wants, right? I mean, your supervisor is going to be the one that determines whether you have a job next year or not. So make sure that that whatever your philosophies are, that you know them. Oh, also, I apologize. I guess I missed our primary and secondary part two. So line of scrimmage officials, this is kind of similar to some of the other things that we've been covering as well. So the players in motion or moving at the snap on your side of the field are going to be your primary. And then if it's on the opposite side of the ball, we're secondary on that as well. We should be pretty aware of any illegal shift that happens on the field. But something like that, the play that we just saw is a good example of something that will probably only have one line of scrimmage official that actually gets that, because the line judge at the bottom of the screen there is going to judge on that. And then also the referee may have a flag down for setbacks in the quarterback. Again, as line of scrimmage officials, we should be aware of any illegal shift that happens on the field, and we should be able to get that as well. Illegal formation. So this is the first and foremost thing that we really look at a lot of times for our pre-snap routine. Whenever all the players get up, we want to make sure that we're getting the formation correct. So definition of this is that is a violation and play is allowed to continue if at the snap team A is in a formation that meets these requirements. All players must be in bounds. All players must be either linemen or backs. At least 5 linemen must wear jersey number from 50 to 79. And no more than 4 players may be backs. There's also the numbering exception that's also in here as well for kicking plays and things like that. So a couple more things for the definition side of things. So in a scrimmage kick formation, our numbering exception is that team A may have fewer than 5 linemen numbered 50 through 79, subject to the following conditions. I'm going to leave this up here. And again, just have this as a thing for you to go back and kind of review yourself later on in time. Because again, I don't have a whole lot of kicking things on this presentation. I just kind of want to have this to you as something that you can kind of reference going forward. And I do want to make sure that we stay on time as well. So some common categories of illegal formation is if there's more than 4 players in the backfield at the snap, this is a foul for illegal formation. But remember on this one that nobody wants to see a flag thrown for illegal formation. So make these players legal if you can. If there are 5 players in the backfield and not a single one of them is within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, that's going to show up on tape. That's something that we want. But if they're kind of within that 2-yard gap on your receiver and you can tell they're supposed to be on, kind of give them that blade of grass and go ahead and put them on. But if it's something that's huge, then obviously we'll go ahead and get that. Another thing that we'll typically see on the second one is with tackles, sometimes they'll try to creep into the backfield a little bit and gain an advantage. We also want to make sure that it's the same way with them. We want them 2 yards back in that backfield before we decide that we're going to make that call. So they need to be clearly behind the center's hip for us to go ahead and get a legal formation for that. And again, this is in our league where our video quality is not as great. There might be some differing philosophies on this as well for leagues that have a little bit better camera action than we do. But typically, if a tackle is kind of lined up to where it's kind of like, they might be on, they might be off, then we can go ahead and get our center judge to go ahead and warn that tackle. Just get on the O2O and make sure that they go ahead and take care of that if they can. Or the umpire, if the center judge is wrapped up, can also come in and help us out on that too. Tackle that is lined up off of the line of scrimmage, causing more than 4 backs. Again, we're looking for that 2 yards off the line of scrimmage that we want to make sure that we get. Also, one other thing that I didn't mention so far, a warning can also be given to a receiver. Typically in our pregame when we go out, we want to go ahead and make sure that we communicate with our receivers and say, hey, I'm going to be giving you your line all game long. This is the foot I want you to line up with. And just kind of give them that so that they know straight off the bat what to expect. Just if you have the opportunity in the pregame, that's the best way to go, is go ahead and have that conversation with them. But during the play, if you see that they're kind of wavering on that, on or off type of thing, you can also give the receiver a warning after the play is over as well. Primary and secondary. So again, this is going to be all line of scrimmage officials that we're going to be worrying about here. So both line of scrimmage are responsible for determining the legality of the formation. If a receiver is in doubt, so if they're less than 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, the official on that side of the ball is responsible for determining if they are on and off. So if you can kind of see my pointer here. So right here, we have 2 receivers on this side of the formation, and technically can add the back in there as well. But so we'll say that we have the H up here. If I'm down here at L and I see on the other side of the screen that it kind of looks like that slot receiver might be off the line of scrimmage, we don't need to throw a flag for that unless the receiver is clearly like 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. In that case, if they're 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, then we really want to see, if there's clearly a legal formation, we really want to see 2 flags in the air by both line of scrimmage officials. However, if we're kind of in doubt, then we want that line of scrimmage official on that side of the ball to kind of take care of that and determine whether that official that's kind of in between is on or off. All right, and then I have a few more plays for this. All right, so our first one, we're going to be focusing on this bottom receiver right here. So I'll pause it right here. Currently, we have 5 receivers in the backfield, and this is something that we would expect if the formation kind of stayed the same way. We have our receivers both 2 yards off of that ball. So I could see a flag coming in from both line of scrimmage officials if it stays the current way that it is. All right, so then we see the wide receiver move up to the line of scrimmage. And this is an exact example of what not to do as a line of scrimmage official that I'm about to show you. Again, like I said, I didn't get 100% of the fouls correct that I've talked about this year, and this is a good one to learn from. So right here, it's really important because even though he initially lines off, This is play 242 of this game. It's been a blowout, and this is a really easy time to lose focus as an official. And this is at the end of the day, no matter what play it is, the graders are always going to be evaluating every single play. So we really need to keep our focus even in games like this. And so initially he lines up off and he comes back on. So now, if you really want to get technical, that receiver is still pretty close to being off the line of scrimmage. But again, we don't want to get technical. So on this one, we want to leave this receiver, we want to put this receiver on and make this formation legal. He's clearly putting out his hand saying, I want on this line of scrimmage. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and go with the play. There's no reason to get technical on this, which I did. And so make sure that we make sure that if they're in that gap of being on or off, let's put them on and don't lose focus. All right. Okay, so this is one. Camera angle's really bad on this, but we can kind of go ahead and pick this out a little bit. And I told you there's no kicking plays. Sorry, I lied. This is a scrimmage kick formation, so I did lie on this. But so here on this formation, we can tell there's 4 players that look like they're off, and you can tell the ball is probably being snapped here at about the 23-yard line. And their heels are, we have some heels on the 20. They're pretty good ways off. So this is an illegal formation that we probably want to go ahead and get from both line of scrimmage officials because it's clearly an illegal formation. I think we only have, probably 3 people that actually ended up on the line of scrimmage at the end of this play. So this is something that we want to go ahead and have both line of scrimmage officials throw for an illegal formation because it is such an egregious formation foul. Any questions on anything that's been covered? Is there anything in the chat, Nick?
Not that let me see. Nope, all good.
Perfect. Okay, so to leave y'all, I have one more play that I'd like to show you, and it's something that that really ultimately at the end of the day, as a line of scrimmage official, and really any official in our game, after we throw a foul, we cannot lose focus. And it's very, very easy when we have fouls that occur, such as a defensive offside that's a live ball penalty, because maybe we're focused on getting the number, which is what ended up happening in this situation. But we always want to make sure that after we throw a foul, we keep officiating. We say it over and over again, whether it's in flag football, high school football, college football, we say it over and over again. It's really important to train your eyes on this. And so this is a good example of official losing focus, myself here. So I'll let y'all kind of see what ends up happening. So we have defenders lined up tight. They moved into the neutral zone. So we do have a defensive offside foul. And then we have quite a few things that break loose afterwards. And we'll look at that end zone view in a second as well, because it does kind of show this too. So a foul, and yes, this is not necessarily my key, but really if you look at what I do, my hat stays fixated on this defensive player trying to get a number or whatever ended up happening in this situation. And then I never get back to the backfield where my key is. I never even get aware of that. And as a result, this really cost my co-official on the other side a bad grade because we missed a targeting foul here. And then we missed an unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of the play for the guy high-kneeing, 20 yards down the field. As a matter of fact, the only person that had an opinion on this play was the field judge, which is all the way on the other side of the field as the deep wing. That's really not something that we want. It's not ideal. And I show this to to you to learn from my mistake and make sure that we train our eyes to get these fouls, and we go through our pre-snap routines, make sure that we get numbers of offensive and defensive players that are threats on our side of the line, so that we don't have to lose focus on these. That's all that I have for this evening. Do we have any questions?
The one question here about do you get on your 0-2-0 to let your opposite wing know that you have 5 in the backfield? Generally I don't personally. As I mentioned in the chat, I wouldn't, if the tackle is the issue, then you can't expect your opposite wing to be worried about your tackle. And if my receiver is obviously off and we know we have 5 in the backfield, like I need to know that anyway if it was across the field for me. And if it's close and it's my partner is the one that's going to put that guy off and I don't throw a flag and he throws a flag, that's okay.
Yep, I agree. Anything else?
Well, great job, Clee. Thanks for stepping up and presenting. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
I'm going to pop in here and wrap this up if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And like I said, thanks Clee for being here and taking care of this. Here's the schedule on your screen now is the upcoming presentations. Next week, Bill Foltz is going to present on some kick plays, which will be really great. I'm still looking to collect videos from people if they want to be involved in the Teachable Moments presentation in a few weeks. As I mentioned a couple of times before, if you're in the COC, I have a playlist on Exos you can drop plays in. If you're not and you still want to share a play or two, let me know. We'll figure it out, whether that means I just make you a co-host and we screen share for your plays. That'll be fine too, but that's coming up down the stretch too. So be on the lookout for more emails from me about that. Otherwise, we'll do the last 50 questions, the COC test review on Monday. The link for that will be in Friday's email. And we'll get all that stuff together for Bill's presentation in that email too. So everybody, thanks for being on tonight. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again real soon. So have a good night.
Hey, Nick, thanks much. Thanks for sharing. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.